10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. 5 minutes. T-minus for minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
And away we go. We're off. Welcome, everybody, to the RP Show on a Thursday. Changing things up a little bit. Our good guy, John Murphy, joining us in hour one today. Four-time Grey Cup champion, to talk a lot of sports things, primarily the Canadian Football League, as Week 4 kicks off tonight in Winnipeg. It is the Canadian hour of the show. Coming up in hour two, when we go to air across Nevada on Silver State Sports, Kevin Carius will be joining us from Sports 1440 Edmonton, because Edmonton remains the epicenter of the hockey world right now. We are Vegas's favorite hockey show, everybody tells us. So there's all that. But hey, Murph is here. As I said, we warned you, Murph is here. What's going on, buddy? How's the world find you today?
So you said the Edmonton's the epicenter. Are you not sporting a Marlies? Is that a Marlies shirt?
No, Blue Jays, baby. Blue
Blue
Canada.
Jays. I was going to say, I thought
yeah.
the Marlies were the center of the hockey universe after their great
Calder
Cup victory.
You worked inside that massive conglomerate of MLS. If it's not the Leafs, nobody cares. Murph, you know that. The Raptors won an NBA championship, and nobody cares because it's not the Leafs. Am I right?
Like I said, seeing those guys and the effort that it goes into, when you don't realize that when you say you're working in pro sports, go ask somebody who's working in minor league sports what it's like. And the grind is the grind, right? I joked about saying that, a lot of the guys that won last week, we used to kind of flip coins or argue over the sofa, who got the sofas in the building if you showed up at 5 a.m. after a Western road trip. And those guys would be coming in at that hour. And so their coaches and me and a couple of others would be trying to crash on the sofas that are behind the scenes there at the Coca-Cola Arena. So it's awesome to see, right? It's awesome to see a team like that win, because they're not going to get a lot of the extra credit that they're due, because they're in such a massive market. Nobody would even know that it happened.
Well, there you go, Kirk from Toronto. He's been giving us Marlies updates like every day. So Murph went for it right out of the gate. The Marlies are the American Hockey League Calder Cup champions. Murph, this is the opening segment. It's only 7 minutes long. We're already down to 5 minutes left. So we're going to talk football the rest of the time. But the World Cup. I'm going to tell you, all my friends, the friends outside Saskatchewan, because they don't care about it here, but outside they are. How about you, where you're at?
Well, I'm right here in Houston, so it's been tremendous outside of the traffic. Anytime it gets to within 3 hours or so of a game, just don't even try to go in that direction. But it's unbelievable, the amount of fans and also the interaction, right? If you have no love for soccer whatsoever, but go find some of the accounts of the people from the other countries that are coming to North America, including Toronto and Vancouver, and their experiences are hysterical. And
yes.
I think one of the funniest things I've ever heard somebody say naturally while covering a game was Ghana and England the other day. And sometime in the second half, when Ghana's kind of running back and forth on England, they said, well, we should have known this because the British don't really do well up here in Boston. That was hysterical for somebody to have that kind of just
historical
ability to say something like that. Was hysterical. On air. The people on air didn't know what to do with it, but it's funny if you know what you're talking about once you kind of put it in your mind and you start thinking about why that's funny or a joke. But I think all around the country, right? You've seen yesterday, if you go look, the Norwegian fans drove down, went to a baseball game for the first time, but had no idea what the rules and regulations were of baseball. And they're cheering as the other team hits a 3-run homer against the home team, but just they're experiencing North America, right? And it's crazy to see some of the fan interaction.
I'm hearing about it out of South Florida from my friend. They're all enjoying it there. But the thing that's with me is the Japanese fans in Texas posting photos. They're like, oh, Buc-ee's. And for those that don't know what that is, it's the Disney World of gas stations. It's just like blowing their minds, Murph, a gas station.
Yeah, I've done it, and I had 2 girls, and they were 4 and 5. I took them in there on a road trip, and have to admit that we spent 30 minutes and too much money in there. And by the time I went out to the car, I forgot the whole reason I went there, which was to get gas. So I had to turn around and go back to the gas pump.
It is pretty amazing.
Because we spent 30 minutes getting all kinds of
Yeah.
other things.
It's like Vegas. The first time you're just looking around. I think after the first time, you're good. But anyways, Canada's going to be playing South Africa Sunday in the first round of the playoffs. I got to still use our North American vernacular. Knockout stage play. USA is playing Turkey today in a largely meaningless game. So you following that at all?
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible. I think that first game, regardless of the teams they've played, right? They should play good against the teams they've played against so far, and even today, even with probably not all their best guys. But I think once you get to a knockout stage where you're going to have Canada, who I think they kind of, even though you wanted to win yesterday and not have a kind of a 2-0 deficit most of the way in a home game, if they win and South Korea wins yesterday, right? Now Canada would have had maybe a little bit less favorable matchup next week. Playing a South who are like not happy to be here, but yesterday that was the greatest day in South African soccer history kind of at the moment. Maybe a keyed in Canadian team that now lost a game at home, has to go on the road. You kind of get away from all the asks, that they're going to have. Less media going on around Team Canada when they're in LA. I think there's a really good chance for both Canada and the U.S. to survive at least one more round.
Well, everybody's excited, and I have to apologize to our viewers. The live stream that Moose and I had planned to do Wednesday, BC game, the Euro crypto casino that sponsors the watch parties. They're like, this game don't matter. Let's move into the group stage. So Sunday, make your plans to watch the game with Moose and I. And I know we got 90 seconds, Murph, but you'd like to do that for CFL games. I haven't forgot that. That would be fun.
Yeah, and I think a lot of things are trending in that direction for all sports, because I think you see it with people now, right? People that are at the games, they're waiting for that moment to have a Shohei Ohtani home run on camera and talk about it, or a big moment in a boxing or MMA match. So I think something new that we could do with the content of the CFL, knowing the fans are so hands-on with it, would be very interesting to do it live in time during a game.
Well, shoot, maybe. Well, here's the thing I'm doing. I was going to say maybe we could do it for Argos Riders on Friday, but I got a ball game. I'll check this. I said to you, I'll check the schedule. I know that it would go over Buffalo. If our damn soccer live streams are going off and I don't know anything about it, then I would think Murph and I doing a live stream for CFL would be a hell of a lot of fun. So we'll check the schedule and get back to everybody on that. So speaking of that, when we come back, ball for all. Plus, the NHL to Texas. Murph is sitting in Houston right now. The Board of Governors are talking about it. Obviously, Murph just perked up. You obviously heard about it. So we have a lot to get to when we come back. Game Plus streaming in WQVZ.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lady Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, Yoakam was amazing last night. I'll talk about that later once Murph adjourns. By the way, CFL fans, score a touchdown in the Caribbean. Join CFL legend Adam Bighill and Rough Riders linebacker Jameer Thurman on a 7-day cruise departing from Fort Lauderdale February 20th. A once-in-a-lifetime experience for CFL fans. Prices from $18.99, cruise only. Contact Neil Chark at Uniglobe Travel, Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. Murph can talk about all the sports, but we brought him on to talk football. Week 4 kicks off tonight. Yes, Week 4. Winnipeg Blue Bombers with Edmonton in town. Is there a game of the week, Murph? In one of our polls, the viewers said this is the Canada's game of the week tonight. Edmonton at Winnipeg.
Yeah, I think it is mainly because we're saying that Edmonton is potentially in a game of the week. When has the last time that was said, in any form? I think 3-0 would be back to what, like 2017 or 2019? For Edmonton, which they then went on to be 12-6, I believe, that season. So if they could win this game, it really puts them firmly on the map for many reasons. One, winning in Winnipeg and a 4-point game even this early in the season would be huge for them. And I think the other thing is having a little bit of leeway, right? You start off 3-0, it allows you in the summertime, if you have an or a back-to-back, week on the East Coast, that you can kind of survive if you started off 3-0. If Winnipeg wins tonight, it kind of sets them straight. They just made this big acquisition that kind of balances their season. God forbid anything were to happen to Zach. And I've said, hey, we've seen they're throwing it around the yard, but tonight should really be about, who has the ability to stop the ground game, because Justin Rankin is at an all-time pace. And the games that Winnipeg plays their best is Oliveira getting 10, 12 touches in the first half, going to lead him to 20-25 total in those games. And then it allows, Caleros to take those shots down the field. But the Elks defense has looked really good in the first 2 weeks. But tonight's a really good opportunity for them to really know where they stand this year. And it would be quite an interesting thing to say. If the Bombers lose, then the Bombers and the Stamps are both 0-2 at home. When was the last time those teams lost 4 games at home in a whole season, let alone in the first month of the season?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hell of a game tonight, which reminds me, the viewers are already talking. Jason and Red Deer. Carlos says count him in for a live stream for CFL. They're talking about the trade. Drew Brown going from Ottawa to Winnipeg, and Ryan Dinwiddie saying he'd become a distraction. What's your take on the biggest move of the week that way?
Well, I said, you've seen these kind of things happen before. And Ryan, and maybe somebody on this, call between the two of us was engaged in that same situation. But go back to the fall of 2021. It was back and forth. It was McLeod and Nick, and then Nick and McLeod. And at Labor Day, it was like, okay, whoever gets 2 wins in a row, that's going to be our guy to ride down the stretch. And came back and had a tremendous victory right there that McLeod kind of led down the field. And so it was just, okay, we're going to go that direction. And about a week later, Edmonton called to make a trade. And it was, the distraction is the factor that nobody at any level wants to be answering questions about the backup quarterback on a regular basis. And if their decision was that this is how they want to play, this is who they want to play, it's a great move for everybody, because it gets Drew Brown back in a locker room that he's comfortable in, knows his role. And then in Ottawa, if you're going to ride Jake Meyer to try to see if you can have that same effect as Nick Arbuckle. Look, nobody expected Nick to come out and play the way he did last season offensively. And then all of a sudden, it hit and it started rolling. There is still a chance with Greg Bell, right? Geno Lewis, Keelan White has come on and shown to be a good draft pick. They have some weapons. They added 2 in free agency. They just haven't played good offensive football. And what can happen is that first week in a downpour kind of can ruin your vibe. And then having short practice weeks and playing against good teams, this is could be your early result. But I think now that he has a direction. It's going to be Meyer. And that if McLeod comes off the bench, he may not be able to zing it around the field like he used to. But you're going to get a guy that knows the offense, knows where Dinwiddie wants to go with the football. And I think that's what they're looking for right now. Not what the fans want to hear, right? If I'm a Red Sox fan, I don't want to hear any of this. I'm upset that we're not trying to do something different, and it's difficult. But I would have read the Red Blacks as a 12 or 18-month turnaround, with things. If you were expecting it to happen in season, that would just be because the ball started bouncing your way, with a couple of victories, and still early enough that it can. But they have to just make that type of decision. And I think when you got a 1 and then a 2 that could turn into a 1, that's about as good, a get back as you're going to get. It's very similar to the Caleros trade or the Vernon Adams trade. So I think Ottawa got what they needed to out of it. And Winnipeg, this really secures them to know that their season is not going to be in flux or in shambles if, God forbid, anything ever happens to Zach Caleros.
I'm chuckling a little bit. There's a lot of viewer comments that have come in for you questions, but I'll say this because it's a gem to have you on. As a longtime personnel guy that you are, I get a kick out of this. What did Dinwiddie win? 2 Grey Cups in Toronto, including 1 in his first year? Did he not?
Second year, yeah.
Second year, but he won 2. Right. So now when I cover the NFL and I go back to Miami, it's the same thing with Belichick. He was like, I won 300 games. And how many Super Bowls? And you still don't think I know what I'm doing. When they had nobody in their quarterback room, like remember going into the last season, it's just they're never going to go, oh, he knows what he's doing. They're never going to say that. Their fans and media are always going to be on your ass. Always, Murph.
Well, I didn't always think he knew what he was doing either, but that's another story.
You know what I'm saying, though. You don't ever get the credit.
But I think that's
no matter how much you win.
Yeah, I mean, and I say that because we would sit in the bus next to each other, and I've had this conversation with Dave Dickinson and Killam and Corey. It doesn't matter. In those scenarios, it's made for going hard on you when the going is not going well. No one really is going to come back and celebrate when it's going well because they're too busy as fans enjoying that it's going well. So they don't have time to tell you how great it's going because they're enjoying that it's going great. When it's going poorly, don't forget, sports is the end-all be-all when it comes to how you judge how you're feeling as a fan in your everyday life. When the Riders win, nobody cared if they were getting up at 5 a.m. to go to work the next day because the Riders had won. If the Riders lose, your drink tastes terrible, the food is awful, right? You want to divorce your wife and kick your dog. And that's just how folks are when it comes to sports. So you have to have the understanding that they're not going to understand that you want to make this as smooth a ride as possible when you're coming in with a new decision and a new culture. But I think the best thing was doing it early when you know that it's becoming a distraction. I think that that's the best thing, because you're not ruining Drew Brown and having him sit there and wait and know he's not getting a turn. And you're allowing Jake Meyer to go out and make the plays you want him to make, because he's now no longer under the gun right now to think, if I take the check down or I just don't try to force the issue, I'm about to get pulled by that guy. He's not looking sideways anymore. And the veterans that wanted Drew to play, hey, you came to work today. These are your teammates. These are the guys that you're playing with on Sunday. Let's go to work. It does kind of settle down all of that noise. And like I said, having been there so many times, Kevin Glenn and Drew Tate and Bo Levi, Kevin Glenn Caleros, right? Brandon Bridge, Kevin Glenn. You have to settle the room down at a certain point, and the person in charge of that is unfortunately the guy that's in the front of the room, and that's why you get paid to do that job.
And that's why Dinwiddie went to Ottawa, for complete power to be able to make these decisions. So all I'm basically saying is I have faith in the guy. I trust the guy. It doesn't seem like anybody else does. I'll get to these viewer questions when we have a little more time in the next segment, because I want your take on the Toronto-Saskatchewan game. It's a home Argo game. If people don't know, you'll never know. But do the Argos have a hope of winning in that place Friday night?
Well, I think, Chad is now the third quarterback in Argos history to throw for 400 yards in 2 games in a row. But never have they ever had a guy start the season with 3 400-yard games in a row. If they have a chance to win, it's going to lean somewhat on that, but you're going to have to start seeing some of the other things that the Argos invested in the sense of, how does the defense play? Now, losing Robert Priester, and you're going on the road to play a veteran quarterback, that could be an issue. I would not be surprised early if the Riders don't test that and try to take a couple of shots like they did against BC in the early going. If they can kind of withstand the early possible onslaught there, of that. If their O-line plays like it's played for the most part, got to give Brandon Kemp credit jumping in late and playing well. Well, Chad and Trevor could throw it around the yard, and we could have another 700-plus yards of, passing offense here. And then the one thing that might benefit the Argos is this. It is a home game for the Riders. Let's not try to, color it any different way. But if AJ is mostly healthy and you have a team coming off of the games they've played, you can have a little bit of that vibe of, like, even though it's, a lot of commingling, right? A lot of riders who are Argos, right? A lot of Argos folks who know all those Riders guys, that are playing. You can get a little bit of that, like, hey, could this ever be a spot where the Riders take it a little light, in that area? You don't think so with Mace and Josh Bell and the guys on their coaching staff to think they'll, play that way or stylistically practice that way and not give them credit to how the Argos could come in. But if you're going to see something, it would have to include like a defensive touchdown or Janarian Grant, who looks like he's got a little more, catch to his giddy up this year early on. If they were to have a return, if they were able to make a play defensively, and then you get a heavy dosage of, Chad slinging it around the field, these two wide receiver groups have proven that, their number 1 guy can be the guy, but the number 2, 3, and 4 guys can make plays as well. And the one thing you do know on the Rider side is, Schaefer Baker would love to have one of these Schaefer Baker games that he's had against the Argos, because I don't think he's ever forgiven the Argos for not picking him up when he was right there out of Guelph.
Well, as they say, everything happens for a reason, and I couldn't imagine KSB, as he's lovingly called around here, playing for anybody else, just like I could never imagine AJ Ouellette ever played for anybody else, because they just fit what's going on here like a glove. Craig Campbell's watching from the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto. He says, looking forward to the Argos-Hamilton home game on July 18th. That's the same weekend as the WCBL All-Star festivities in Saskatoon. By the way, Vancouver Eric says, can you please ask John's thoughts on why offenses are beating defenses? Will this change? We have a minute, Murph. You just mentioned the quarterback play. I think you know that, Vancouver Eric. They're out of their minds right now.
Yeah, well, I think it's 2 things. One, that when you say Buck Pierce, Ryan Dinwiddie, right, you start looking around, Dave Dickinson, right? When Winnipeg makes a change, offensive coordinator, they bring in Tommy Condell, who touchdown Tommy, right? They're going to throw it more than they run it. in a lot of his, when you look at who is running these teams, it's primarily offensive former quarterbacks. So when you look at the salary caps, most teams are leaning in to spend money on receivers, paying their offensive line and their Canadian linemen. And what it's leaving a void for is a lot of younger DBs, a lot of younger guys playing Sam and pass rushers in our league. So when you look at it, the kind of changeover in that is the more offensive coaches, head coaches that you have, and leaning in on their staffs to then have OC and quarterback coaches as well, that's going to lead to more points happening, which I think for the league is good. It's not good for the defensive coordinators that are sitting up at night waiting to try to figure out how to defend all these teams.
Murph's appearances for Prairie Panels. Are you building a shop, barn, rink, or commercial space? Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels designed for durability and energy efficiency. Visit prairiepanels.ca or call 306-985-0050. And also our picks are for Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. You're coming in for the game? Pre or post, drop by Pump Jacks Cathedral. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. More viewer questions with John Murphy, four-time Grey Cup champion, when we come back here on the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca. Or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Dean Brody and the Wreck Loss, teaming up for the Hometown Heroes Tour.
If there's work, you know I'm gonna work.
Live at Temple Garden Center, November 9th.
Can't blame nobody else. I can't help myself.
Two of Canada's biggest country acts. One stage, one unforgettable night on the Hometown Heroes Tour. Tickets on sale now at the Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the RP Show. We're streaming on Game Plus, podcast WQVZ, Hour 2, going to air across Nevada. I want to get to all the fans' questions for Murph. We need more time, but we have fans of every CFL team watching right now. So, Murph, I got to talk to you about what I think is Canada's game of the week. It's Touchdown Kelowna Saturday, BC Calgary. Like, all the games are interesting. It's a battle of, you talk about, like, you don't want to go down 0-3. 3-0 provides you a little room for an oops. 0-3 doesn't provide you any room. That's a big game Saturday in Kelowna.
Yeah, and I've been on both sides of that fence, 3-0 and 0-3. And 0-3, you're starting to do some math, right? You're starting to look at your schedule and try to find some W's in places you were not convincing yourself there would be W's before. And it does really change the early momentum, of your season, because you now know, like, you're going to have to dig your way back by Labor Day, in order to, give yourself a great chance. Now, the thing that both of these teams have going for them is at 3-0 or 0-3, God forbid, the quarterbacks that both of these teams have can get hot to where they can carry you. But so far, what we've seen is Calgary's defense is proving that they can keep you in the game while the offense is figuring it out. And they're going to get flow back eventually. They've got Hutchins back, and he's not at 100% yet. And the other thing Calgary could get back by probably the summertime is Damian Alford, who would be another star Canadian receiver coming back to the league, because he basically has a pulled hamstring. That's why he was put on injury waivers in the NFL. So the way that works is they're going to make a deal with him eventually once he's healthy. Then he'll get waived and he could come back or re-sign with the Saints. So I think Calgary doesn't want to go to 0. But in BC, if Calgary comes in and scores 30 plus, now you have a trend. And I think it's just teams are catching them when they're blitzing, they're taking shots. When they're not and they're sitting, they're completing a lot of passes against them. And again, when you look, it's a rookie corner, right? It's TJ Lee, who has played as long in the CFL as I've worked, basically. I think TJ Lee has been playing for the BC Lions for about 12 plus years. And when you're playing halfback, it happens. I mean, it happened to Ed Gainey. It happened to Brandon Smith. When you get into 10 plus years and you're in your 30s, they start running the crossers over and over. They're going to get a veteran defender on the move out of his comfort zone to where you're then trailing behind because you're just start losing a step. And it doesn't mean you can't play the game, but teams will start running route combinations that kind of cause you trouble. And when you're dealing with that, you look, they caught Jackson Finley twice has been caught in the last 2 games just out in space, right? Covering grass or turf. That's not what you want to be covering. And so they're finding good matchups against them. Eventually, Coach Benavides is going to be able to figure it out because he did down the stretch last year, which is why BC played so well and almost, upset the Riders in the playoffs. But if that doesn't happen early this week, I think you're going to start getting a little bit of that vibe there of like, hey, we're going to have to throw it around the yard. And what you don't want to see when that happens is opening Nathan Rourke or any quarterback up to trying to force making plays because of the game flow. You're going to take an unnecessary hit, right? You're going to get smushed, because you're running out of the pocket or you're trying to make a play. And we don't need that, right? We don't need to see him take unnecessary hits. But I think it's going to be as heated a early, week 4 contest because, again, it's not only going down. It's now if you're Calgary, you've now lost West games. So it's not just games that you're losing and being 0-3. You're losing West games. And if you're BC, here's another team that you're comparing right now to say, hey, what if I am really battling Calgary for that last playoff spot? This becomes a 4-point game to say somebody is going to come out of here with their backs up against the wall.
This is why I'm saying it's the game of the week. This is a huge, huge, huge game, and I just wonder how many people haven't figured that out yet. We got like 5 minutes, and I got two things for you. Ted in Red Deer says, John, I'd be curious to know as the season gets underway, how much time does a GM take to make sure everyone's pulling in the same direction, and how do you go about doing that?
So I think the biggest thing is if you make your way around the building all of the time, so that people are used to seeing you, they're used to interacting with you, then when it's good, it's good. And when it's bad, it just happens to be bad. You don't ride the roller coaster with the results of your team. I can share that, say we had a winning season, won the Grey Cup. We had the parade on Wednesday, and on Friday, I was at an event for the next season. And we had a losing season, and there was opportunity to go to the Grey Cup and enjoy parties and, the atmosphere and whatever. And instead, we were on the road working guys out for the following season. So I think if you, in that model, can kind of keep your 10-foot, 100-foot, 1,000-foot viewpoint all together, and a lot of times it means, kind of doing it in your own area. So when you win a big game, you're enjoying the atmosphere of it, but then by the time you get on the plane, you're on to the next week. And when you're in a struggle, you better make sure that you're doing exactly the same thing with the players, especially. So you're hitting every locker after you lose. You're hitting every locker the next day, and you're going into the training room to make sure those guys' heads are up. And if they're not, you're reminding them why they are, because in all reality, an 0-3 team is the team you built. And a 3-0 team is the team of guys that you put in there just doing their job. You don't ever want the 0-3 team to feel like you're blaming them for being 0-3, because at the end of the day, you're primarily responsible for the people that are in the room. So if the
You'll be gone
is
too.
happening, exactly,
Yeah.
let them know that, hey, I'm standing here with you guys. There's no other team in the league I want to go to battle with, than the team that's in front of you.
We have like 2 minutes left, and because you're sitting there in Houston, it really caught my eye this week. The NHL governors are talking Houston or Austin as an expansion team. And Gary Bettman's saying, I only want one. We don't need two expansion teams. Do you think it would work?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you look back when the Houston Aeros were here playing minor league hockey, they were getting routinely 15 plus. You see now the University of Houston has club hockey. Never would you ever expect that, to be the case. The Houston Bulls are now coming in, and they're going to be playing minor league hockey, here. And there are hockey people that either they moved here or because they played in the States late in their career, then decided to stay. And then when you look last week, right, there's a massive NHL trade, and the teams that guy said he would go to were Florida, Carolina, Dallas, right? So I jokingly said, the unoriginal four, not teams that you necessarily think, right, would be, where hockey lives. But now you look in, quickly, LA, San Jose, Anaheim, Dallas, Florida, Tampa, Carolina, right? It's all hockey places that you would not immediately say that hockey was going to thrive. And all of those places now have plus hockey teams and a plus hockey culture in their cities. I believe if Houston gets a team, they will. And I could see it being Houston over Austin. Austin's in it because they have some infrastructure with the facility, and they have a really, really good people involved with it, much like the original people that were bringing hockey to Arizona. So they're going to be hard to fend off, but I think if you want the bigger opportunity, which I think is what they want in terms of before 2028 goes for the new CBA and the new TV deals, Houston's a great market for them to jump into.
Well, and it's another day. We can talk about it when we have more time. But what I've heard from everybody out of Dallas, and my dad worked for that team for 26 years, the Stars don't want another team in Texas. I'm like, guys, it would be the best thing for you. Like Tampa and Florida work great together. LA, Anaheim work great together. But that's just the way some people think. But I don't think the owner of the Dallas Stars is going to get his way, because I think the NHL's coming.
No, and I think what he has to also see is that it is going to play better for him in a bigger picture market, because what you could do then with that rivalry will outweigh saying, I want it all to myself.
Absolutely. Murph, it's been a hell of a lot of fun. Enjoy the games. Stay by your phone. If we can find a way to work out a live stream this weekend, we'll do it. I don't know if I can do it for 3 hours. That's a long time to do a live stream, but maybe a second and third quarter. Would you be up for that? Second and third quarters of a game?
Yeah, we would do whatever we need to do, or a second half of the game. Plus, if you and I were on for 3 hours straight, somebody better grab the 7-second delay.
We would lose our license too, probably. So, all right, Murph, appreciate the time, man. Have a great day. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back. As I guess I didn't say it, I was thinking it, but these sessions, especially with Murph, but it's like the perfect pregame show leading you into that week's action in the Canadian Football League, and I really appreciate Murph's time and as just as much you for tuning in, and the numbers are great. Vancouver Eric writes that he says, dream guest for RP. Murph can talk CFL and NHL. Oh, we didn't even get him going on NFL. Wait till that starts. No, Murph's great. Hey, you want him, we'll get him. More and more and more. Producer Corey loves working with Murph. See, all these guys that I worked with the Rough Riders for a long time, Murph. Mike Davis worked with us with the Rough Riders. He's one of those guys, and yeah, he's good. People like Murph on the air, too. On this game of the week, it's my game of the week, BC Calgary, touchdown Kelowna. Jason in Red Deer writes in, he says, could you imagine the face of the league going 0-3? It's probably a story that they don't like us talking about. Like, he is the face of the league, but for the moment, it's a manufactured face of the league, which is fine. Nathan Rourke sells tickets. Everybody loves him. But what goes along with that is the pressure of winning. And I've been talking to the football people. They're like, the defense sucks. The receivers are hurt. Yeah, yes. But I know ball enough. I watched the games. I saw the game in Sask. Throwing it too high for the receiver that's wide open at the goal. I've thrown it in the dirt on a screen. He's not. I don't need to argue. I know what I see. Nathan Rourke needs to play better. 902-518-3033. By the way, Mike Wynn has written in from Ice Time Sports in Winnipeg, says, go Bombers, go. We had a whole preview of that game tonight, Mike, earlier on with Murph, so you might want to rewind later or do it now if you want. But Murph thinks that's the game of the week tonight, Winnipeg-Edmonton. They're all going to be doozies. The text line is open, 902-518-3033. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. Drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. From the audience, David, number 2 in Winnipeg, has a few comments. Number 1, he wrote in about yesterday's guest, Scott Belford, from the Walk-Off podcast and stand-up comic. He says, really enjoyed Scott. I like people who know their stuff and are not just talking heads. This is why I tune in. I really noticed that when I was at the Grey Eagle Casino in Calgary doing those live shows. The staff would come and gather in front. The staff at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino would come gather in front of the stage and just watch the show. Nobody minded. And one of them was a security guard originally from Romania, and he goes, you only have great broadcasters, great speakers on the show. And I'm like, is that so revolutionary? And then I started to look around. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's kind of rare these days. People that are great speakers that know their stuff on the air. I guess that's rare. Call me crazy. If you wanted to win, you'd want good players, wouldn't you? Seems pretty elementary to me. Anyways, David, number 2 in Winnipeg, goes on. Murph on turf. Knowing how Drew Brown was when he was in Winnipeg the first time, I don't think he was the cause of the disruption in Ottawa. I think Dinwiddie is feeling the pressure and has moved the wrong guy. I'm just passing that along. I'm not arguing with you. I test, but I'm not also going to doubt Ryan Dinwiddie. There's another guy that we had here in Sask, and I loved him. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes that he says, I like Murph's take on winning and losing. I agree that it'll take a couple of more years for Dinwiddie to turn the Red Blacks around. But that's the thing, is the heat's on him, and everybody expects immediate results. I also noticed that in Winnipeg when everybody was up, whatever regime came through, Reinbold, Dave Ritchie, Mike Kelly, Murph was there for a time. You named the Brendan Taman. They were all held guilty for the sins of the past in that drought that spanned nearly 30 years. When it wasn't their fault. But finally, it was the Kyle Walters, Mike O'Shea tandem that finally got it done, and now we can stop talking about it. It's not Ryan Dinwiddie's fault. This has been the worst team in the football for the last 5 years, yet he's getting hung out to dry for it. That's just how it goes. It's also why I would never want to do it. Kevin the Medium writes in. He says, BC will not lose this week. He says, I miss doing those live shows at casinos. Oh, they were fun. But remember the guys that were running this show at the time? It wasn't you and me. They're like, we're not a casino show. I'm like, excuse me, I don't see your name on the show. They're long gone. 902-518-3033. You should go read my commentary today. I said, I do what I'm told now. Life's a hell of a lot less stressful, I'll tell you that. And we also all forget, and Jason and Red Deer has brought it up, let's not forget that they've brought in McLeod Bethel Thompson there. So it's not like they don't have an adequate backup behind Jake Mayer. The warm-up is for our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group, the preferred travel partner of the RP Show, and the BC Lions. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. So, point one was World Cup, and I barely even read anything on that other than talking with Murph about how much fun it is watching all the fan bases from all these countries come to North America and just have their minds blown by how great it is here. Sometimes we forget how great Buc-ee's is, or the Texas Roadhouse, or the things that we have in South Florida, or for that matter, the wonderful things in Vancouver. We just take them for granted sometimes, and we shouldn't. Shame on us. Point two was the CFL Week 4, and boy, oh boy, did we cover that with Murph. Murph! That's the Chris Jones impression. Point three of what we were talking about with Murph. The NHL took the first step toward expansion in Texas earlier this week, agreeing to terms with billionaire Dan Friedkin and his family to explore the feasibility of putting a franchise in Houston or Austin. I'm going to talk more about that next hour when we go to air across Nevada in an NHL market. But I have it written here. The poll has to do with hockey, and it might shock you what the results are. It's for Country Thunder. Joe came up with this. Joe, our business manager. Joe, 747 Gunnis. The biggest party this summer is coming to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th. They had to cancel it in Calgary, but we're not canceling it here. Featuring Lainey Wilson and Creed. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. Poll question is, will the Edmonton Oilers win a Stanley Cup under Mike Babcock? I don't know what the YouTube vote is, and I don't think he put Babcock on that, and that is the caveat. Joe put it up on the YouTube, and it's on our Instagram. The Babcock factor. Will the Edmonton Oilers win a Stanley Cup under Mike Babcock? The majority, and quite a majority actually, close to 70% saying yes, they will. And I voted for yes. And Kevin the Medium, you were under the knife yesterday. No, Kevin the Medium, well, here you go. Jeremy in Winnipeg writes in and says, did Kevin the Medium retire? No, he went under the knife yesterday. That's all I'll say. So he's convalescing right now. Trying to keep my mind on point here. What the hell? Where was I? I just saw these comments. I should not have gone into the comment pool. That's on me. My bad. Oh, did Kevin Carius retire? Yeah, he did, and he's coming on next hour. You're not asking about Kevin the Medium. Oh, I feel like such a dummy because I had a train of thought, and I looked in here, and Carius is coming on to talk about Babs. One day after Mike Babcock's announced as coach of the Oilers, Kevin Carius retires. I was like, what, you don't like Babs? But apparently it had nothing to do with that. So Carius is going to join us to talk about the NHL. It's a brief segment. He's not going to be able to stay with us for the whole segment. But Kevin Carius is my longest time broadcast partner and or friend in this business. I don't know who's number two. I got to think about it. It's probably Brian Duff, actually, the host of Buffalo Sabres television on the MSG network. We all went to college together. But it's a long, fast drop-off from Carius. Vancouver Eric says, RP, do you have a top 5 NHL draft prediction for Friday? Absolutely not. I don't, but thank you for the question. I got asked to go on the Two Mutts podcast to talk about the NHL draft, and I'll do a little studying ahead of that, but I'll be honest, as a guy that worked in hockey, for 2 decades, if not longer, and comes from a hockey family, I've never been a real big draft guy, so I'm not all frothing at the mouth like a lot of other people about Friday. I've never been a big draft guy, ever. And I was more of a Hall of Fame guy, and the Hall of Fames, sorry, Hockey Hall of Fame, but they've kind of ruined that and taken the fun out of that discussion. So as I sit here right now, no. Gavin McKenna will go number 1. After that, I'm not that excited. Florida Panthers had the number 9 overall pick. I was excited about that, but then they traded it for Brady Tkachuk. So, from a Panthers perspective, there really isn't a whole lot to talk about. Oh, ding! This is what I was talking about yesterday with Babcock. I said, maybe he's a narcissist, maybe he's not. I'm not comfortable throwing that term around because he's been great to me, and I've dealt with a lot of narcissists. And while he's displayed those traits, and that's what people tell me, I've never seen that. I don't like to say that about Babcock, but even if he is, there's a lot of narcissists that are winning right now. People that have been labeled narcissists, like Donald Trump, Nick Saban, James Dolan, the president of the Knicks, the aforementioned MSG. I know guys that have worked for all of them. I don't know those guys personally, but they've told me. So all I'm saying is maybe Babs is a narcissist, maybe he's not, but he does win. And that's the point. All these people burning their jerseys, canceling their tickets, which they're not, you're going to feel like a total boob if and when the Oilers win a Stanley Cup under Mike Babcock, which they probably will. They only got 2 years to do it, because if they don't, it's going to be a horrific mess, and McDavid's going to be gone. They'll fire everybody. So basically, it's like, are they going to win a Stanley Cup in the next 2 years? And I'm still saying yes. They have the talent. They have Babs there to finish it. Now they just need a goalie, and maybe it'll be Bob. We got a lot to talk about when we come back in hour 2 right after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Today's show should come with a disclaimer. I'm going to warn you right now, buckle up because it's going to go fast. We got a lot of topics to get to. I'm asking for a lot of audience participation because our guest, Kevin Carius, will be joining us in the next segment from Sports 1440 Edmonton. He's going to talk about all the sports that we care about on the RP show here, but also his retirement dropped 24 hours after the Edmonton Oilers hired Mike Babcock as their head coach. It's still the talk of the hockey world. It really is, even with the draft coming up on Friday. It's what our text line's coming up, humming with for Western Dodge. It's our poll question today. So as I say, it's going to go fast. So this is the warm-up brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group. The main office in Vancouver, but really all of Western Canada, and they also want to sell to our U.S. viewers as well, as we welcome our viewers across Nevada on Silver State Sports. Still rolling on Game Plus, streaming in WQVZ Radio. Let's go with the warm-up for Uniglobe Carefree Travel. I'll get to your text messages. This is hour two. You're just jumping on the train. We stopped briefly to get you all on. Gone. Point one, the big story is still the World Cup. We need to show its respect. We're grateful that it's come to our continent. It's been an unthinkably good World Cup start for the U.S. men's national team. The Americans have back-to-back wins in this tournament for the first time since 1930. They've also locked up Group D with a match to go. Vibes are sky high under manager Mauricio Pochettino and team captain Tim Reen. The question is, are they going to go for a clean sweep of their group with their game against Turkey today, or are they going to hold back in preparation for the round one of the knockout stage against Bosnia and Herzegovina? They think that's who the U.S. is going to play. There's some drama there. That's with the U.S. men's national team. Here's the thing about the U.S. men's national team. What did I say earlier? They went in ranked like 19th. They expect to win. That's the American way. How about Team Canada? 1B. Point 1B, Canada will face South Africa in the knockout stage of the FIFA World Cup. South Africa upset South Korea 1-0 in Mexico City Wednesday to finish second in Group A. Canada, the runner-up in Group B, takes on the South Africans on Sunday in Los Angeles. Canada advanced to the knockout stage for the very first time ever, despite a 2-1 loss in Vancouver to Switzerland Wednesday. The Swiss topped the group. So they're leaving Vancouver. They're going to L.A. for the playoffs, for the next game anyways. And I will apologize to our viewers. I'll put it on me if you want. I'm not going to pass the buck here, but we told everybody that we were going to be doing a live stream, a watch-along, as our European crypto casino partner, BC Game, calls it. And then they're like, let's wait until the playoffs. Okay, so we didn't have a live stream on Wednesday. Make plans for Sunday's game, Canada, South Africa. It's, to quote my old broadcast partner, John Frenzy, it's just going to be fantastic. And hour one, John Murphy joined us from Houston. They've been playing games there. He's all excited about the people that have come in. The stories outside the games have been as good or better than the games themselves. And frankly, it's been an awesome World Cup so far. It's been fun to, frankly, be a little tiny part of and be asked to be a part of it. Point two is simply Canadian Football League Week 4, and we spent pretty much a whole hour on it in Week 1, and we're on the air in Nevada now, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on it, other than Week 4 kicks off tonight with the Edmonton Elks at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and you can watch it in the States on CFL Plus, streaming, and, of course, across Canada on TSN. We already made our picks there for Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, and Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. I can hear it now. Oh, Rod, you picked Cody Fajardo's Edmonton Elks to lose in Winnipeg. You're the one that always says, the former Nevada star who still has a home in Reno, Cody Fajardo. You're the one that says death, taxes, and Fajardo winning. You picked him to lose. It's win-win for me. I got Winnipeg to win the game, but if I'm wrong and Cody wins, I can still make my little post that says death, taxes, and Fajardo winning. It's win-win. Go El Cabos in Winnipeg tonight. I'll be watching. Point 3. This isn't as big as the Babcock stuff and the nest that we kicked, the hornet's nest on that. But the news that's come out since Mike Babcock's been hired in Edmonton by the Oilers is this. The NHL took the first step towards expansion in Texas earlier this week, agreeing to terms with billionaire Ted Friedkin and his family to explore the feasibility of putting a franchise in Houston or Austin. Far enough from the Dallas Stars, who relocated from Minnesota in 1993. A new team would not interfere with their territorial rights, and the league has shown no fear of adding one team at a time, so number 33 does not have to come with a number 34. Gary Bettman said this, quote, "Symmetry, I don't think should necessarily govern expansion." Gary Bettman said, "You expand if you think it makes sense and enhances what the league has," right? We went a few years with Vegas being the 31st team before nobody even noticed. So all I'll say is, yes, I'm pro-Texas. I'm for more teams, more jobs. I mean, at least they're actually talking about it. I mean, that's why I've put this no-fly zone for the Canadian viewers watching on CFL expansion. You can sit there and chase your tail for as long as you want on that. I don't like talking about it. The NHL says, this is what we're looking at. This is what we're going to do. And when it gets to this stage, when Bettman's basically... Now, what's interesting is, why are they not talking about Atlanta anymore? Listen, I love talking about expansion as much as the next guy and gal, and believe me, it's one of the favorite topics of everybody I know. It's just, I don't... At least in the NHL, they've expanded. Not that long ago. CFL's not doing it. Texas... Again, my dad worked for the Stars for 26 years. I know a lot of guys with that, not as many as I did, but still some. And the owner of the Stars has never wanted a team in Texas. So I feel like there's got to be some convincing being done here for him. And I'm not going to sit and tell any pro sports owner how to do their business. That don't end well for me or anybody. But I did own a restaurant, and in the restaurant industry, we used to say, you don't want to be the only restaurant going up in that new subdivision. It's better for you if there are other restaurants around you. It draws people out to you. The best thing for Texas hockey would be 2 teams in Texas, just like we have in Florida, and 3 in California. But what do I know? Shut up, Rod. You're just the barker. That's what our team bus driver used to say, which, by the way, we'll get to the Babcock stuff in a second, but Murph was with us last hour, 4-time Grey Cup champion, joined us from Houston, and one of the viewers said, Murph, how do you know when everybody's pulling in the same direction or not? As a general manager, and Murph, you should go back and watch it if you have a chance, and if you're watching on Silver State Sports, go look up our YouTube. You'll see it there in hour 1. But he had a great answer to that, because Murph's won 4 championships. He's also been with losing teams, too. We all have. And what I've learned, I only really learned one way to do things. And then you get to be a certain age like me. I'm 53. I don't hide it from anybody. It's very hard to unlearn once you've seen the way that works. And that's in everything in life. But in sports, we had our president of our team, of our pro football team, just went around every single day and just stuck his head in the office of every staff member. What are you doing today? He just want to know what they were doing. He was not telling them what to do. For instance, my very dear friend was the head of the community relations department of the team. Rumor got around that he was dating the cheerleading coach of said pro football team. And the team, I was sitting there, and the team president goes, Danny, don't pop the cheerleading coach. All right, have a good day. Cutting off the problems before they happen. And he also took a very keen interest in my recovery story and getting sober. He saw the worst of me, helped me get to be the best of me, was integral in that. So he was a boots-on-the-ground guy. That's what Murph was saying. You know, because you're checking around. And then one of my favorite things, and then there's the general managers and the owners that are never around. Yet they make the decisions, like the owner of the Oilers, from what I see, seems to be the case. This Mike Babcock was his hire, and maybe he'll end up winning a Stanley Cup. Who knows? It's not supposed to work that way, but sometimes that's how it works. But, I mean, I've been at the front of the bus when the coach's phone goes off and goes, oh, and by the way, we've traded blah, 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 blah. Please tell them. And our coach is like, where are you? You just traded these for who? What? There's that. They're never around. They're running the team from their cell phone. That also happens. Those are the losing teams. And with that team, we never won. But the more, and I see this in the recovery industry now, addiction recovery, they're doing things different. The way I do things now is different than they've done for the last 40 years, and that's why the psychiatrists and therapists are mad at me. Rod, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be having success doing this. But I am. So, back off. And the point is, you can, I guess, run a team from a cell phone. I guess that's, some teams are winning championships doing it that way. I've just never seen it done that way with success before. So who am I? Thanks for coming to my TED Talk on life. 902-518-3033. So that, oh boy. Text line's going nuts. Carter, right? Hey, Carter, what's up, man? Former professional offensive lineman. Friend of mine writes it. He says, is on the Western Dodge text line, he says, is Mike Babcock going to be a disaster? Writing's on the wall, but obviously leadership sees something that we don't. What is it? They see that Babcock knows how to win. They see that we've been talking about this all week, Carter. Thanks for joining us. It's in my commentary today at rodpedersen.com. It's running on Sask Radio. This is what I believe went down. I was given a tip that Bruce Cassidy would be coaching the Oilers, but we all know that the Vegas Golden Knights wouldn't allow them to interview Cassidy while they were on their Stanley Cup run, and I think the owner of the Oilers, and a clash of egos, couldn't wait. How dare you? You're not going to tell me who I can talk to. So he goes and hires the reviled Mike Babcock, which the meme we made yesterday when I said, let's pump the brakes on the Babcock hate. He's not Jerry Sandusky. He's not Graham James. He's not that big of a villain. Oh, you should see the response we're getting on that. So he's not a pedophile, so that makes him okay. Just saying, there are people that actually like Babs. And the Oilers hired him, so he can't be that bad of a guy. So to answer your question, Carter, what does the owner see? Because of the owner's own ego. This is totally I'm just piecing this together, talking to people in both teams, cities, media, and just what I know in history. And yes, I see, Carlos, it's 1:11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain for the live audience. The owner couldn't wait. And you're not going to tell me what to do. That's how these guys think. I've seen it a million times. So they go and hire Babs, and it'll probably end up working because, again, I don't like calling Babs a narcissist. A lot of people do, but I've never seen that side of him. That's all I'll say. If you need to form an opinion on somebody, form it on how they treat you, not from what you hear. It helps. But if he is a narcissist, there's a lot that are having success in this world professionally, like Donald Trump, like Nick Saban, they say. I've never met him either, but 7 national championships. And they say the owner of the Knicks, or the president of the Knicks, is like that. James, I don't know. Never met him either, but my people that had worked for him and played for him hate him. So just saying, it'll probably end up working out. Thanks for asking. Bob writes in. He says, good day. It's Bob from Medicine Hat, watching your show. I missed you for a few days, but I always enjoy your show. Have a great day, my friend. Same to you, Bob. As I said, I'm like the sun over here. I come up every day. You, Bob, are like the planet or meteor just going around. Drop in, drop out, but I'll always be here. That's just how it goes. Wayne writes in and says, the poll question is, will the Oilers win a Stanley Cup? It's for Country Thunder Sask. Biggest party this summer coming to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Laney Wilson and Creed. Will the Oilers win a Stanley Cup with Mike Babcock? I voted yes, because why not? It's trending that way. Kind of lining. That's why they hired him. So they have the talent. They need to get a goalie. I would like to think they will. And this will backfire in Daryl Cates' face, the owner of the Oilers, and they'll win. Because that just is, in today's world, is that not how things are? Go exactly the way you think things should and will happen, and then pick the exact opposite, because that's what happens in real life. Wayne in BC writes, and he says, well, I voted yes to Babs winning a cup with Edmonton. But that may be wishful thinking. Well, I just explained why it probably will happen. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, writes in, and he says, with all the recent hockey moves, I believe it's long past due that the Jets make a significant move. I really appreciate what Hellebuck has done with the Jets. It's time to move him and get younger and cash in on his value. The feeling I get here is the fans are far past restless and patience has run out. Chevy needs to step up. Well, one thing I saw this morning, if it's to be believed, and I have no reason to think that it's not true, the Jets' brain trust are trying to convince Connor Hellebuck that they still have a chance to win. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. It's going to be up to them to sell him. Because if they trade him, they have no chance of winning. He's the biggest reason they have a chance. Players have all the power. Oh, I can't wait to talk to Kevin Karius next. Because he's seen it from the front lines. And even though he's retiring, Friday is his last show on Sports 1440 Edmonton. I'm hoping my oldest friend in this perilous business will continue to come on this show and give his NHL takes and NFL and everything else because he's so good. And I don't know who the hell else I would talk to. We're getting to that age. 902-518-3033 for NHL, NFL, any other question. World Cup, he'll be into that, I'm sure. Maybe CFL 2. He's in the CFL 2. He's into that. It's brought to you by Prairie Panels. We'll be right back. Game Plus streaming and Silver State Sports.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All this going on, and I haven't even gotten to last night's Dwight Yoakam Big Country and Western show. The biggest in Moose Jaw history that I was at. Thank you, Temple Garden Spa. Oh, speaking of spas, looks like he's joining us from his own backyard spa. Kevin Carius, the recently retired Kevin Carius, Sports 1440 Edmonton. How you doing, sir?
Not retired yet, Normie. I got one more day.
24 hours after Mike Babcock's named head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, you retire. I'm like, something happened. Something happened. But I guess nothing happened.
Oh. No, this has been in the works for months and months. So tomorrow will be the last show on Sports 1440. It's been a wonderful career. Everything that I got is because of broadcasting. It's 36 years, 33 in TV, 3 in radio, lots of time in Saskatchewan. Obviously, the bulk of it here in Alberta. I can't thank everyone enough who's helped me along the way. It's been a hell of a ride.
Oh, well, thank you for everything. And by the way, producer Corey. Kevin has to blast a little early today, so get ready with the backup screen. Are you going to play hockey? So you're retiring from broadcasting, but you can still play hockey. That sounds about right.
We still play hockey every Monday and Thursday, 12:30. Great bunch of guys. So I try to never miss it. So big skate today.
Okay, well, I know you got to bounce. So, listen, I'll get to your career in a second because I want to honor it. It deserves being honored. What's your read? Because you can now say whatever the hell you want. What's your read on this Babcock situation?
Okay, when it first started coming out and surfacing, I wasn't for it. I stated that a lot. I just felt that not only wasn't I for it, I didn't like the way it was all handled. I don't like the way that the Oilers have handled things the last month. And that goes back to Bruce Cassidy, and it goes back even further of them looking for a head coach while they had one under contract. So I think that was handled very poorly by the organization. They're going in this direction. It is that word desperation's been brought up. I heard your poll. Just as I was logging in here, and about the Oilers winning the Stanley Cup. Are they going to win one under Babcock? I say no. I think it's too hard. You can't just say, we're going to hire a guy and we're going to bring this guy in and we're going to win. It doesn't work like that. It takes time. You got to build and you got to keep knocking on the door. Kenny Holland said that many times. You got to finish 4th, 5th, for many years. Carolina's been doing that. They finally broke through this year. It is so hard to win. The Oilers, when they were 2 years ago in the Cup final and lost in 7 games to Florida, it's harder to win now because there are 2 or 3 or 4 teams that are better than what the league was back then. The Oilers have so many question marks in their lineup regarding goaltending, where they're at with Darnell Nurse moving on, who they're going to bring in, what they're going to do. So to me, I would have personally gone a different direction. I know I'm leaving. The Oilers have been very good to me over the course of my career here in Edmonton. I wish them nothing but the best, but it's a move that I wouldn't have done.
You just talked me into voting no, and initially I voted yes. You're 100% right on everything, which I've never told you, but since you're getting out of the business, I'll say it now. You're 100%. You're right on all of that stuff. Basically, what you're saying is Babs isn't going to make that big of a difference.
Okay, well, if you like, Connor McDavid had some great comments yesterday, and the one thing that he talked about is being pushed. So being pushed comes from within, and the athlete, whatever sport it is, the person that pushes you has to be being the number one guy. A coach or a mentor or someone can push someone a little bit more, a 1 or 2%. If that's what they feel that Mike Babcock can do, well, then all the power to them. The way they've been talking, though, about everyone as far as the star players being pulled back as far as ice time, responsibility, et cetera, and more of the guys on the bottom 6 and whatever else, if you want to call it, on the bottom pair in defense, well, where's this ice time going to come from? I've never really understood that, in the sense if you play Connor and Leon on separate lines, well, that eats up 41, 42 minutes right there. So now are you saying that you're going to expect more from your bottom 6 with 18 minutes left? Then you go to the argument, if they play together, well, now what happens? Okay, now you're 22 or 23 minutes between the two of them on the same line. Now you're talking. But now where's the void being filled on your second line center? Where is it filled on the other stuff? There's tons to digest here. The team assembled the way it is right now isn't capable of winning a Stanley Cup next year, the way it's assembled right now.
And they don't have a goalie. Okay, I know time is limited.
That's
6 minutes now. Yeah, 6 minutes, and you're a TV guy. You know what that means in broadcast time. So I want to get to your comments on the Edmonton Elks. Well, we have a lot of viewers. Okay, buddy. Well, we have a lot of viewers in Nevada that love the CFL, so I want to get to your take on the Elks in a second. But with the tributes that come out on your career, the one from the viewers up there, the one that stuck out to me was your work in the community. Nobody's doing that now, and not a lot were even doing it during your time. And I was so proud of the viewers for saying it, and they noticed. You must have seen it from the people saying that.
Pretty proud, yeah, pretty proud. And I'm just the face of things. There's so many people that work so much harder in things that, and how about this? Like Frank Saravalli this morning, he donated to Easter Seals Alberta because he wanted to, because he felt he felt being a part of the show for 3 years, he wanted to contribute. I was blown away at that. But being a part of the community here in Edmonton, I think it's a responsibility that we all have, especially if you're in the public domain. You got to be out there. You got to be lending your hand. You got to be able to put your money where your mouth is sometimes, but more importantly, it's your time, it's your effort. You have to do that. And that's what makes Edmonton such a great community, because I'm one of about several thousand, hundreds of thousands of people that think that way and do it the proper way in Edmonton.
Well, kudos on that. And I've been following it, obviously. As I said, you are my oldest friend in the business, and I don't know who number 2 is. I don't have a next one. I've been thinking about it for a while. Edmonton Elkamos, home attendance. Again, people are tuning it in around North America, and they're seeing an empty stadium. And the team's unbeaten. They get a big one tonight. What's it going to take to get people going back there?
Well, they got to keep winning too, but it's more about everything else. It's you got to gain the trust of the organization for the fans. I was at the game on Saturday, sat in the rain, underneath the cover. There would have been 2,500 fans there. I sat in the stands. It was an enjoyable football game. It was one of the best football games to watch because it was exciting. Justin Rankin is the most dynamic, most exciting player that this league has seen in a long time. If he continues like this, it might be the greatest season in CFL history, which says a lot because we've had so many great players, as you know, over the years. But to get the fans back in the stands, the product on the field has to continue to improve what it's been. The foresight and how the front office works, from Ed Hervey to Chris Morris and to Mark Killam, they're all on the same page. They have to keep working and keep pounding away and trying to get fans back. The name is one thing. It always gets brought up on our show. I don't know if they revisit that, but they've got to worry about other things like parking. They got to get things like the LRT straightened around. They need more help from the city. They've got to get everybody in order. Let's talk about baby steps. Let's not worry about 30,000 fans. Let's if you can get a win tonight in Winnipeg, that shows a massive amount of improvement on the field. You got another road game before they come home to play their next home game, July the 9th. It's a Thursday night. It's a Thursday night in July the 9th. That offers a little bit of, people don't like the Thursday night games. But if you can get 18, 20,000 for a game like that, now you can start building. They just got to keep pounding and building at this, and hopefully it gets to be back where it was this once proud franchise, which was by far, not even close, the flagship franchise in the CFL.
For decades. Decades.
They supported the league. The league would have went under if not for the Eskimos.
Yeah, well, and it just shows you the blunders of the last regime as they were making them, and you saw them making those blunders too. I'm like, how do you people not see this? How is this being allowed to go on the way they were treating people? Oh, my God.
Yeah. I mean, the board of directors was so inept. Preston was inept. It was a debacle of monumental proportions. How they handled Dwayne Mandrusiak in year number 49 It was great that they did that. I wish there would have been more people to see that on Saturday night to recognize his contributions. I was lucky enough. Dwayne invited me over to his house on Saturday after the game with about 50, 60 people to recognize some great accomplishments. But it just went on and on and on. There were many, many things. Chris Jones canceling the Midway Magic, where they got all the Eskimo players and took them down there to help special needs kids. No, we're not doing it. Things like that, you don't recover overnight. It takes you time because you've lost the trust of the fans of the city. But with Morris, with Ed Hervey, and I believe with Mark Killam, they are on the path. It's an early path, but they got a lot of work to do.
As you know, they've always treated me great. Stampeders can't say the same, but the Eskimos have. And listen, before I let you go, I was talking to yours and my good friend, the stinky bald midget. I was talking to him about your retirement. Did I hear that your father passed away at age 62, that Orv passed away at 62, and that you just want to start living life?
Well, I mean, that's one. I mean, Dad passed away the morning of Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final against Carolina 20 years ago. A good buddy, John Sexsmith, just passed away. And I'm not saying I'm in failing health or anything. I hope I live for another 20 years. But I want to enjoy things. My wife retired 2 years ago. It's been a hell of a run. I've enjoyed every minute of being on radio. It was way different than television. The preparation that goes into doing a 4-hour show, I don't have to tell you. The preparation, if you don't do it, you will be exposed in a second. People can tell and sniff out. A listener can tell, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know. And hey, I've made 1,000 mistakes on the air. So have you. But if you can own up to that and be, again, the preparation and try to come across as who you are. I remember when I started, Norm, a guy said to me, there was an old guy in the business, he's long gone, but he said, try to sound knowledgeable without sounding like you know it all. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do for 36 years. I can tell you in the last 3 years doing this radio show, not always can you do that because you have to come across as being a bit of a bombastic, opinionated person because that's just how the job is. But for the most part, I've tried to live by that phrase, and I think I'm proud of the things that not only I've accomplished, but the teams that I've accomplished with working with some great people all the way. As I said, I started in Yorkton, and Big Jay Boyd was there. You remember him, and all the great other sportscasters. Our friend Bobby Krawchuk in Prince Albert went to Saskatoon. Kevin Waugh, now an MP for Saskatoon Grasswood. I mean, we had just so many great sportscasters. And when I went to Calgary, I mean, Russ Peak was there, working with Russ Peak, an absolute legend in the industry. And then, of course, coming here and having a long run at first ITV and then Global, it's been rewarding. And I can't thank our listeners at Sports 1440 and all the viewers I had over the years on television enough.
Well, a nice little monologue there, but here's one. Of all the stories, I think of this often. Mount Royal College called me, whatever year it was in the 90s, and they wanted to put me in the Hall of Fame. Mount Royal College Broadcasting Hall of Fame. I said, absolutely, let's do it. And they said, we're also trying to get a hold of Kevin Carries. Do you know where we would find him? I said, I'm looking at him. He's sitting on the couch. It was your couch. Here's the phone. And they put you in the Hall of Fame, too. We fooled them. But the one thing is, your dad was 62. Let's stop. He was 62 when he passed away. That's what he was?
Yep. He was 62.
Kevin.
Yeah, he passed away at 62.
He looked 82. I just think of him, of Craven, walking around with an IV. That wasn't his best day.
He fooled a lot of people there. Like he said, I'll sneak in a bunch of booze. And he had the IV he made it up out of a Ziploc bag tied to a tent pole and said he just got out of Regina General. And they said, go ahead, sir, go ahead. But you know the story, how I got into the business. I'll do one quick one with my dad, Normie, is when I was finished playing junior in Melville. And he said, well, what are you going to do with your life? And I said, well, I'm going to go to Calgary and take this TV course. And he took a long puff of his players playing and he said, what, repairman?
That was a good one, and he wasn't joking. I I saw Spectre tweeting that yesterday. So yeah, listen,
Yeah.
I don't want you to be late for your hockey game. So you go. Thanks, congrats. Just stay in touch. Can we still do this?
I will do it anytime you ask. I'll be available, and I really enjoyed all our conversations. You coming on Sports 1440 and me coming on your show. I've absolutely loved every second of it, and absolutely we can do it moving forward, Normie.
Appreciate you, my friend. Congratulations on a wonderful career.
Thanks, buddy. Hey, you should think about retiring too.
I'll be working until I'm 76 like my dad. All right, Kevin Carius. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Yeah, put up the screen. My oldest friend in the business. Are you there? There you go. Thank you, producer Corey. That worked well. So now 902-518-3033 is the text line for Western Dodge. In the time we have left, which in this segment is only a couple minutes, I'm going to throw down a sports update for you from the NBA. Vegas is getting an NBA team, right? You heard that, or at least that's the intention of Golden Knights owner Bill Foley. The 2026 NBA draft is in the books, and the biggest story of the second round, aside from the fact that 29 of the 30 picks were involved in trades, was North Carolina big man Henry Visar, who rejected an NIL deal worth more than $5 million in hopes of being a first-round pick, but ultimately slid all the way to the Hawks at number 52. Oops. From MLB, Mookie Betts hit his 300th career home run, and the Dodgers win on Wednesday, becoming the 17th active player to reach that milestone, and it came in a win for Shohei Ohtani, who's now 8-2 with a 1.58 ERA and sits just 3 home runs shy of 300 himself. WNBA All-Star update, Indiana's Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark lead all players in the second voting update for next month's WNBA All-Star game in Chicago. Asia Wilson, Paige Beckers, and Brianna Stewart round out the top 5. Just so you know, I am following the WNBA. There's just not enough time to get it all in every day. This one has flipped everybody on their ear. Detroit Lions cornerback Terrion Arnold was arrested Wednesday and faces 4 charges of armed robbery and 4 charges of kidnapping, which carry a maximum sentence of life in prison. The 23-year-old former first-round pick continues to deny all involvement in the incident that first surfaced back in February. Any of my peeps that are watching this all went down in the state of Florida, right? Like, again, I'm casually following everything. And one thing I do know from my other career, the cops don't get this wrong. The cops don't get it wrong. No, it wasn't me. Right. As the cops will tell you, they all say that. I'm just trying to figure out how far it was from my home. And the LA Lakers are signing star guard Austin Reeves to a 4-year, $185 million maximum contract, the richest for an undrafted player in NBA history. The 28-year-old Reeves has averaged 21.5 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 5.7 assists across his last 2 seasons in LA. The sports update is for Ultimate Fan Zone. From Moose Jaw to your man cave, Ultimate Fan Zone has the merch to make you the ultimate fan. Shop local or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. I was there yesterday. Whoa, just ahead of the big Dwight Yoakam Country and Western Show. I want to talk about that when we come back here on Game Plus Streaming and Silver State Sports.
Ready for a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band.
You know your man is working hard. He's worth the team.
Saturday, December 5th, Temple Garden Center.
Now.
The Gene Simmons Band performing your favorite classic hits. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood. Friday, December 4th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Sask Tigs.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Today's show is going swimmingly. They always do, thanks to producer Corey, you, the viewers, and this little gang that we have here, the RP Show family. We do have breaking news. I'm ringing the bell because we have breaking news. This is toot-worthy, too, because this affects me in a way, just because it's my friends. The Henderson Silver Knights of the American Hockey League have officially named Joel Ward their next head coach, replacing Ryan Craig, who has moved up to be the head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights. You'll see that on all the various Golden Knights and Silver Knights social media, but I have friends on that staff with that team, and everybody's happy. And way to go, Joel Ward and staff, and way to go, Golden Knights. Few things here. Kirk in Toronto writes in 902-518-3033. He says, I hope Mr. Carius can still be a guest on your show now that he's retiring, because I really enjoy him when he's on. Yeah, he's good. He's good. We have a good rapport. Kirk also says, I'm with Kevin the Medium. This guy that wrote in last hour, Kevin the Medium, the guy that's usually with us on Thursdays and Fridays in hour one. He is a medium, speaks to dead people, and also hosts the Hughes Sports Podcast. Kirk from Toronto says, I'm with Kevin the Medium. I miss viewing those live shows from casinos. Well, we don't have time to get into why that's not a thing anymore. We could still probably do that. But two things I'll say on that. I'm just eternally grateful for the casinos in Calgary, the Grey Eagle, Century Downs, Ace Airport Casino. We had so much fun there. And I was at a point in my life where that just fit real well. We were looking for a place to take the show. They were more than happy to do that. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, the guys that ran those casinos are like, Rod, this would work a lot better if you just moved to Calgary. And I'm like, I'm not gonna jerk you around. I'm not moving here. I'm on my way to Florida, guys. And that's exactly what happened. And that's why we're not doing the casino shows anymore, because I live in Florida. And at that time, Calgary worked out just great. So, as we've said all week, that's why the windshield is this big and the rearview mirror is this big. You get caught looking in the rearview mirror at the pasture, you're going to go hit a tree. And nobody wants that. Let's look forward, everybody. And having said that, I was the guy that brought up the casino shows because the staff used to come around and gather in the front of the stage. It was pretty special and fun because we had all the biggest sports names. That town is an absolute sports mecca. It really is. It's like South Florida, but with Calgary sports. It was a lot of fun. John in Edmonton writes in and says, I guess Henderson did not want Bruce Cassidy to coach. That's funny, John in Edmonton. That's actually quite funny. I'm sorry. How did this come up? Vancouver Eric says another Bama bust. What's with these guys? Who are we talking about? Okay. Brent in the Bridge City writes in, says, I heard about the Lions' bad news this morning, Rod. Big shocker. Bad news. What, about the player that is going to jail for the rest of his life? That's a him problem. Oh, it was in Tampa. Thank you, Jason and Red Deer. It was, okay, nowhere near me. Okay, perfect. Because there's no crime in Boca. Producer Corey just laughed in my ear. When I first moved to Boca, I thought Boca Raton, Florida. I'm like, this is such a nice retirement community full of retired New Yorkers and the wealthy elite. And I see these cop cars running around Boca. I'm like, what do we need police in Boca for? It's just a bunch of old people living here. That lasted like a week. I'm like, oh, where there's money, there's crime. There's crime everywhere. So, yeah. 902-518-3033. On the poll, it's very interesting. The poll for Country Thunder is, will the Oilers win a Stanley Cup under Mike Babcock? On Instagram, close to 70% are saying, yes, they will win a Stanley Cup. Maybe Curious convinced everybody otherwise because on YouTube, 70% saying, no, they're not going to win a Stanley Cup with Mike Babcock. And to be honest, with Curious, don't introduce logic into what we do here. He gave all the reasons why the Oilers won't win a Stanley Cup under Mike Babcock, and son of a gun, he convinced me. Because I was initially voting yes. You're going to need a goalie probably to win the Stanley Cup, I would think. And there's not enough depth there, and there's a lot of problems. And not a lot. We'll see. We'll be right back with Overtime here in Silver State Sports and Game Plus streaming.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody. Isn't it fun when a plan comes together or actually gets hatched? Now that I think about it, what producer Corey and I were talking about in the break. This is not a plan coming together, right, Corey? This is a plan being germinated, to use a farm term. Oh, yeah. No, we're not telling anybody. Except our salespeople. Overtime Hockey Lanes, we've done live shows from there. There's your only hint. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary is amusement parks for hockey players. That's what it is. 28th Street, Northeast Calgary. Kids are missing hockey already. Summer doldrums. That's what people are telling me. Well, drop the kids off at Overtime Hockey Lanes. $20 an hour. Who else will watch your kids for that? Nobody. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Plus, their specialized shooting training. You're going to start hearing this all summer from me. This is the time you need to be working on your shooting. Okay? In the summer, kids, you young hockey players, as I sit here and sound like Don Cherry, don't learn to swim when you're drowning. Don't try to figure out how to open your parachute once you've jumped out of the plane. No. Spend the summer learning shooting. Connor Bedard shot 1,000 pucks a day. Worked for him. You can do it at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Right. And save your garage door. I just came up with all that off the top of my head. 902-518-3033. You guys were talking about the Bama. Oh, Terrion Arnold. Okay, thank you. Carlos in Indiana writes in. He says, looking forward to a football Friday. I guess I should get on that. These players. I'm working on Chris Streveler. Who said he would love to come on the show. Former Arizona Cardinal, quarterback, Grey Cup champion in the CFL. If these guys would just check their DMs a little more, we'd be good. But if it's not Chris Streveler tomorrow, and I'll be working on that more once I get off the air here in mere moments, it'll be Mike Davis. And maybe Kevin the Medium if he's off the Looney Tunes gas. Regarding doing live casino shows, which we did with a tremendous amount of success in Calgary for a period of years. It was really one of the highlights of my life, frankly. I really loved doing that. And clearly you all did too. Watching it anyways. John in Edmonton writes in and says, isn't there a casino where you are right now that you can do the show at? We don't want to. Leave that to us, John. We're at the Golden Ticket Sports Center. I quite like it here. I'll tell you what. When I walked in here 3 summers ago, I was like, yes. I immediately saw how it was going to look. I'm sure a lot of people think this is a green screen. It ain't. From time to time, I think you see people walk behind me here in the Golden Ticket Sports Center. This is our home for the summer, so we'll handle that. Oh, I have not even talked about Dwight Yoakam yet, and we're almost out of time. Thank you, Temple Gardens Mineral Spa. No, Temple Gardens Center. That's 2 separate places. The concert venue, hockey rink, where Dwight Yoakam was. I'm standing there last night, and people are like, you ever seen Yoakam before? And I'm like, I saw him at Craven, but I was wasted. So let's go with no. And I don't know. Producer Corey's like, everybody's wasted at Craven. Well, I won't be this year, but I was back in the day. But I don't know, man. I'm fascinated by the whole entertainment world just because I've just had a little dabble in it. But when they said, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome to the stage, Dwight Yoakam. And he comes up those stairs, and he was in this denim jacket with white leather tassels. It was like an 80s thing. That's what all the girls wore then. But Dwight Yoakam's wearing it now. And he's wiggling, and he's twitching, and he's like, country music's Mick Jagger. I'm like, I'm so happy. I didn't cry like 2 summers ago when Clint Black was, I cried. I was overcome with emotion at Clint Black. That didn't happen last night, but I got Yoakam up there, and I met some friends who were there, and they said, Dwight Yoakam is our guy. I said, we all have our guy. My guy's George Strait, Clint Black, Garth Brooks. Yoakam's in the top 5. His voice very strong for 69 years of age from Pikeville, Kentucky, Dwight Yoakam. If he's coming, he's in the Ponoka Stampede tonight. I admire it all. I admire the work ethic. I admire the talent. I admire everything about it. I admire the longevity. Gosh, dagnabbit. Kevin the Medium says, I don't think I'll be off my happy pills for a few more days. What could make you any weirder than you normally are, Kevin? Like, let's be honest about it. But I respect your right. Oh, and I was thinking about Casey Clark. I was telling this story. I know our American viewers don't know who he is. Maybe you do. Huge country music DJ star Casey Clark hosted the Chevy Top 20 Countdown for decades on CMT. And I was with him at Craven a number of years ago. I was still drinking then, so 10 plus years. And he said to me, because he's from Edmonton, he goes, Rod, you're living my dream life as the voice of the Rough Riders. I'm like, you're living my dream life as Casey Clark, the star on CMT. Big country music DJ star. And he goes, well, I would have always liked to have done football. And I said, well, what's the highlight of your wonderful career? He goes, well, Garth Brooks hired me to fly around with him on his jet and MC all of his concerts. I'm like, what? I'm talking about being on the air 5 hours a day, doing a pro football game, or 5 hours a week plus a talk show in between, versus being on stage for 15 seconds and flying around with Garth Brooks on his jet? You want my job? What's he drinking? Right, exactly. And then, like I say, it was like, okay, Casey, let's go do some shots. We had a big time, I'll tell you that. Brent says, I've been a big fan of Dwight Yoakam for years, Rod. That would have been great. I enjoyed it for you, Brent. Tomorrow, Football Friday. Who knows who will be on? See you tomorrow. Game Plus and Silver State Sports.
That